Hi, Rachel. Week 3, assignment 2, your story interpretation. All right, so I didn't know how you wanted to approach the assignment at first, and you realized the perfect way you thought possible. Your mom collects antiques, so I went around and picked a few of your favorites. Excellent. Dad helped by playing the part of the man. Very concentrated in reading and trying to find his classmate. Elena changed my camera settings twice, so he took photos of each change in my light meter. Excellent. All right, so let's take a look at your critique image. So we have this. So I think this is, I want to say it's gosh, I want almost like electrical wire, maybe like an old extension cord, but then I see something going on back here, so I'm not really sure exactly what this is. So I think that's kind of holding the image back a whole lot. You've got some really amazing shots in your contact sheets. Let's take a look at that, and I'll point out a couple of them that really stood out to me. Okay, so we have, okay, here, the first one is a light meter. Excellent. I love the still life going on down in here. Zoom in a little bit. This is fascinating. And the lighting is beautiful, very soft, very elegant. You can tell there's probably a large window over on this side. But the exposure is wonderful. I really like this. Even the fountain pen with the feather. I mean, that's just really, really nice. I like that a whole lot. So there's that one I thought worked out very well for you. Yeah, so we have the dad looking through the yearbook trying to find people, and she does have some really nice antiques going, and it worked out perfectly for you. The old trumpet is fascinating. Okay, so here, okay, so no, it's not electrical wire. I'm not exactly sure exactly what this is. So there's another light meter reading. So great job on that. The desk, the school desk. I'm kind of torn between which angle I like better. I think probably this one here, where we're almost eye level to it, and we've got the door in the background. I might even like to see this converted to black and white and seeing how it looks and see what kind of texture comes out in it. So I think those two were the primary ones that I was really drawn to. Be careful, your metadata is falling off after the first page. Go into Lightroom and check and uncheck that stroke border checkbox, and you'll see it disappear and then pop back up when you recheck it. So hopefully this helps. Really, really like those two images I pointed out. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate shooting me an email. Hi, Nancy. Week 3, assignment 2, your story interpretation. All right, so you knew what you wanted to do. You had the help of 2 antique shops in town. Fantastic. So many times I hear students say, they wouldn't let me shoot, or, I didn't want to ask. And so you were lucky enough to find not one but 2 places that were willing to let you take pictures. So here is my suggestion. Gather together what you think is the best shot of each one from inside the different antique store. Go ahead and make an 8x10 print. Make sure you got your copyright on the back. You can get a little stamp, or you can even just write it in. And go back to the antique stores and give them each a print. The reason behind that is the next time a student comes along, they're going to have such a positive experience from you shooting there that right away they're going to say, yes, absolutely, go for it. And that way you're doing a favor not only for yourself, but also for the next student down the road who may or may not come along and want to do that. So that's just kind of going the extra step, going the extra mile for them. Okay, so we try to get a yearbook from the library. They wouldn't let you use it because they were going to take photos. I wonder why that was. Borrowed one from a friend. Husband was the subject. Searching for his friend from school. All right, so let's take a look at your critique image. So you've got the dolls. Man, the dolls are awesome, but they're creepy as hell. Anytime I see the dolls, especially the older style ones, a lot of them are missing eyes and are just kind of beat up and all raggedy, and they just have this wonderful but creepy feel to them. Playtime, painting, and drawing. Just be a little bit careful with the text, because anytime you have text in an image, that's where your eye goes to automatically and starts to read that, and it becomes more about the text than it does these amazing dolls here in the back. I like how there's an implied line form, with the heads kind of going down on on a diagonal that way. Good use of texture coming through on the back chair there. I think it worked out really nice. Let's take a look at your other images, because you've got some other ones I think are just as nice. Great to see you using that handheld meter. That's exactly what we're looking for. So be a little bit careful of the rule of thirds and getting the subject out of the very center. I like the old oil cans. The ones that I really liked, I liked this one here. Is a wonderful still life setup. You have the painting, you've got the wicker basket, the basket with the pictures in it. But man, these dolls, they almost give me the willies. You know, a lot of people can't stand clowns. The dolls, I mean, especially this one, I don't know if there's actually no eyes or it's just the lighting in there, but the eyes look kind of dead and black, and they got this wonderful wedding gown. And then we got this other doll head kind of peeking out over the top. Really nice. All right, so there's that one. So wow, that's an old Mickey. That's got the stereo viewer. So we got the outdoor. So I think for me, the ones that work the best are the ones inside the antique store. So like I said, do yourself a favor and do a favor for the owners. Get a nice shot for them. And you know, just give it to them. And I guarantee you, they're going to be thrilled with it. All right. So all in all, great job. If any questions at all, please don't hesitate shooting me an email. Hi, Emily. Week 3, assignment 2, your antique interpretation, antique story interpretation. So, you focused on John finding his classmate that he had bullied. You chose to show a darker side of the melancholy he had by having your model drinking. Oh, okay. I sat at the table with a yearbook, phone book, laptop to do the research. Chose to stage the shoot in front of my antique china hutch. Yeah, I noticed that. It looked really good. I think that as an antique dealer, John would have some pieces in his home. Absolutely. When I first started shooting my images, I forgot to change my white balance. It's amazing and what an incredible difference it is, and we'll see it in just a second. My first few images have a slight yellow cast to them because of this. Realized it and changed it. Your setting. Good. Final image of John feeling like all is lost. He is drinking, can't find what he's looking for, and ready to give up. Okay, so let's take a look at your critique image. So, yeah, we got John sitting there, him kind of gazing down, maybe lost in thought or just depressed. The drink is empty with the ice, so it's symbolic for he's ingested the alcohol as opposed to it just being half full, where we can say, yeah, maybe he's just starting, but no, it's empty. So there's that. Yeah, the china hutch definitely has a wonderful antique feel. So the only thing that maybe do differently, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. I don't expect you to know how to do this at this point. Notice how we've got a very melancholy feel to the subject. So we start thinking about the color of light. We start thinking about what different colors actually mean. For example, now when we think the yellows, the warm colors, it's very warm, very inviting. That's inside. But we look outside and it's very cool and cyan and blue and overcast, very melancholy. If there a way we could flip-flop that to make everything in the house be cool and be that blue that kind of relates to that depression, that melancholy, that feeling of sorrow, and then have the outside then be yellow and warm and inviting, kind of like a ray of hope coming in from outside, something along those lines. But you know, the other thing I really picked up on is I love the sleeve. I love tattoos. I don't have any myself. I kind of have a feeling that once I started, that would be it. I would be covered, and I'm not ready for that. My wallet isn't ready for that yet. But the one thing that I've noticed is I have a lot of friends who have lots of sleeves, and I think there was a stereotype among my parents' generation of, you know, tattoos are for bikers or for people who are just Whereas for me, I found that the more tattoos somebody seems to have, the more of a big cuddly teddy bear they become. I have a really good friend at my night job who has full sleeves. He's basically covered, and he is the nicest, most wonderful, caring human being on the face of the earth. So I think this kind of plays off of each other well. The sense of the badass with the tattoos, but at the same time the feeling of regret, of remorse, and things that you don't normally associate with that. So I think this image works really, really well. Let's take a look at contact sheets. Yeah, look at how orangey yellowish the the interior is, and we can see the outside kind of a neutral color. So that definitely works. Great job using your light meter. I hope it's working out well for you. It's something that you're going to be very, very familiar with throughout the rest of your career. All right, so I think they all work well, but I definitely think the one that you have for your critique image really incorporates everything very nicely with the drink, with the almost sadness, and the antique. So great job. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate in shooting me an email. Hi, Brittany. Week 3, assignment 2, your antique story. So, yeah, sometimes creative juices don't get flowing, and sometimes it takes a while to kickstart them. I went for over a year where I didn't even want to pick up a camera. So you first started with yearbooks, because the old man is searching for the kid he once bullied. So that's where you started. Then you moved to your antique silverware that your dad has, as well as an old model car that he displays in the house. And then lastly, you photographed Grandma's jewelry box in the shape of a piano. So let's take a look at your images. So the antique car, I think the big thing is it's got camera shake going on in it. Camera shake happens a couple ways. Most predominantly is when you're trying to hand hold any kind of camera with an exposure that's slower than 1/60th of a second. And if we take a look right here, you're shooting at 1/13th of a second. And it's incredibly difficult, if not completely impossible, to handhold anything perfectly steady that slow. So that's the importance of being on a tripod. And if you are on a tripod, make sure that there's no vibrations going on in the room. I've had people, had the dryer running, and the vibrations of that caused the camera shake. I've had people with the dog in the background running back and forth playing catch with the kids inside. So just be careful of that. If it's hopefully it's just shooting without a tripod. Always get yourself on a tripod anytime you're shooting. I try to do it anytime I'm shooting indoors, actually. And I think that's going to really help. In terms of the car relating to the story, I guess I could see that, yeah, it is an antique car, but I don't get the feeling of illustrating the story of the guy having remorse of bullying the kid. Let's take a look at your contact sheets. Just careful with your metadata getting cropped off here. Go in your Lightroom, and before you export those contact sheets, just go to your stroke border checkbox and click on once that, and click off it again, and you'll see the rest of your metadata pop open and just kind of suddenly magically appear. That's an old Western meter. That's really antique. Well, it's not antique, but make sure you upgrade as soon as you can, because you're going to need a digital meter that can read flash as well. Okay, so yeah, creative juices, it's definitely difficult to get jump started, but once you do, everything will start snapping into place. I think maybe getting closer in some of these images, like fill the frame with this wonderful silverware. Maybe try a black and white conversion, something along those lines. But I think getting closer is really going to help, and especially making sure that your critique image is in focus. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Hi, Susan. Week 3, assignment 2, your antique interpretation. All right, so most difficult assignment so far, stumped for several days. So let's take a look at your critique image. I agree. I think your brother did a great job of keeping a character as well. The great thing about these images is you're using your handheld light meter. You're not using flash at all, and the exposures are spot on. This is one of the main things a handheld light meter can do for you, and it's going to capture an incredible image. We have the reflection, him kind of reaching out, then a reflection of himself back on himself. Really nice. Good use of the rule of thirds. I think the only thing maybe we can improve on the shot is maybe zooming back, and if there was a table here or something, maybe the open yearbook or something that kind of indicates the struggle he's having internally of having bullied the child when he was younger, and I think that could really help. Taking a look at contact sheets, like I said, handheld meter, an incredibly valuable tool, and I think you nailed it. The only other thing I could suggest, maybe try some different points of view, some different angles. So they're all pretty much right around the same, but I think those are going to be my big suggestions. Like, see here on, where did it go? The one where we're looking down on him. Like, that starts to take on a different feel altogether. And even this one here, we're getting multiple reflections. I think that's working. So that would be my biggest suggestions. But other than that, really good. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate in shooting me an email.